Yo. So, I was one of the fools to fucking buy this game and play it. I thought Anthem looked amazing. It looked like an amazing game. Playing the game, going through the flight, going through the environments, and the magic. The guns felt good. The javelins you played felt good. The monsters you fought against felt good. Like, clearly effort was put into this game. The problem was, I'd say both the problem was EA and BioWare. Like, whatever executives they had. Like, I'm going to start by saying, in, I think, G3, when it was a thing, when it showcased this game, the actual devs didn't even know what type of fucking game this was supposed to be until they announced it, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, so we're making that type of game." That's nice to know in the fucking announcement trailer. Like, what project system does not tell the very people that are putting it together what the fuck they're making until the goddamn showcase? Who the fuck thought that was a good idea? And obviously, everyone, like, I'll gladly blame EA. But I think this is also equally a BioWare problem. Because it's not like BioWare hasn't made games like these before. I mean, was this before or after Andromeda? I think it was a little after. So, Andromeda was kind of a wet fart because they weren't really planning on going any further with the Mass Effect trilogy. But I guess they wanted to cash in on the game regardless, even if it failed. So whatever, they made Andromeda, it shat the bed, bippity boppity boo. But then there are probably other games. But then they made this game, and I thought, again, it looked cool. But one, it was online only, and one, the game barely even functioned. Like, you could barely get into a server, there's crashes. There are things, like, and this is why people thought the game was bad. Like, no one that I know argued the mechanics were bad. No one said the world was bad, the fighting was bad. I didn't much care for the whole gear score bullshit. I feel like a lot of games saturate with themselves with the artificial numbers that make brain go yay. And it's like, you don't really need to do that. I mean, I get there's an idea they were going with, and this is why I blame EA. Because they wanted to make it an online only multiplayer game where there's dailies, there's probably would have been a season pass, there's a fluff currency that doesn't actually mean anything, but because every other MMO has it, they have to have it. So the game released shoddy and buggy playable state, which they've eventually ironed out. But the story was also kind of shit. I don't even really remember the story, but I think there's the javelin guys that are good guys. Then there's this group of guys that are bad guys. And the good guys are trying to beat the fuck out the bad guys. Like, but I will say this. The lead bad guy, his fucking armor, like, he had some fucking drip on him. Like, can I even get a fucking picture of the big bad guy off my fucking screen? Like, what his armor fucking looked like? I mean, all these other javelins looked cool. I went with the magic looking foo. I don't know why this is acting testy, but anyway, like you look at these things, right? The environment and everything, and other than having DLSS, which at first, what like, oh, there he is. This guy had some fucking drip. I'm like, give me his fucking armor, and I'm good. This fucking drippy dude. It was one of the few games that had DLSS that you can turn off. And once you turned it off, you really did see the visual artifacts of the game. And to be fair, a lot of games have that nowadays. And I can't do anything about it. But what killed me inside was the fact that it was always online. I knew this game was going to die eventually. But, I'm looking, I'm like, okay, Warframe's still going strong. What about this game? Nah. They lost a lot of their players. And when you beat the game, there's like, the thing where you do weekly, or this thing you get to do get better armor. And playing with friends is fine, but other than that, it's just sort of whatever. Like, there was no real end game. And the ending of the story was dumb. It was just dumb and stupid, and you can clear they were trying to rush the game. But that being said, this plan to revive the game... Okay, I'm cutting ahead. The game died. Not surprising. Online-only games are only fated to die eventually. Whenever the company just decides, nah, fuck the game. And this came at the heel of the whole stop killing games movement. Like, the minute that happened, they're like, no, we gotta put the kibosh on this shit immediately. We gotta throw it out, in anticipation to whatever happens. I mean, the stop killing games have put that into the conscience of the consumer. So now people are a hell of a lot more wary of buying games online. But I obviously the companies are going to go for whatever benefits them, and if killing a game benefits the company, whatever, obviously they're going to do it. They're going to be like, oh, well, we can't infinitely support a game. And it's like, well, that's not what we're asking. What we're asking for is for an end-of-life plan. Like, most COSs don't tell you, like, they said, oh, we can terminate the game for any reason without refund. Like, it's a contract that people aren't going to read, because people think we still operate in the early 2000s of copyright, but we don't. And obviously there's games in the past that were revived. Like, there's very few of them, but there are games, online games, that you can play now because the fans keep them alive. Like, Battlefield 2142 comes to mind. Whenever EA decided to kill that game, the fans were like, nah, we're not going to let this happen. So that brings us to now. Former BioWare producer outlines $10 million plan to revive Anthem as a single-player RPG. And I think this is good, right? Because they have a foundation. And that's what you need to keep in mind is, one, they take your fucking money. So obviously at the very least they should give you a game, a product, something that can function theoretically forever. But, and regardless of what a terms of service says, this is why I don't care for a terms of service or a contract. Because if it's against the law, what the fuck, power does it actually have? The only reason it's allowed is because people just don't care for video games. And it's like, well, I guess I'm going to have to be the guy to care now. I have to be him, because other people just don't. But Anthem had a legitimately good foundation to be a good game. And that's really kind of all you need is a good foundation and people that know what the fuck they're doing with the game and not just trying to milk their consumers, but a good foundation. And if with that foundation they allow you to play a game that you paid for, and this is the thing, if people have already paid for the game, this should just be free, regardless of the platform. You paid for the fucking game, and therefore you should be able to just play the game, regardless of what state it is. From our executive Mark Dara, proposed a bold $10 million plan to revive Anthem as a fully single-player RPG. This idea comes just days after EA officially shut down Anthem servers, marking a potentially new chapter for the sci-fi shooter. Yeah, they just decided to straight fucking stab it. Like, nah, we don't want this. And I heard a lot of other developers were pissed off. They're like, we put time, money, and effort and crunch into making this fucking game, and sure, we made our money. People that produce art wants to have their stamp on it, just to tell the people, yeah, I made this. Generally in the culture of America, destroying art is regarded as a bad thing. I'm not going to really get into the reeds of the philosophical argument of it. Like, maybe a philosopher can do that. But generally destroying things that people put time, money, and effort into is bad, regardless of what it is. And I don't know a person who don't care for games that are like, yes, this absolutely should happen, and I want it to happen. People just don't think that way. Most people don't care. They just don't care. And it's clear that EA doesn't care, and they're obviously going to be against any initiative that tells them you're not allowed to do this because, again, they're not a moral entity. They don't really care for what's right or wrong. They're a company that wants to just impose its will, do what it wants, regardless of any outside forces, even if said forces is the very fucking people that put food on their goddamn table. However, the title launched to middling reviews, quickly lost its player base. Mark Dara, who was brought back to lead the now canceled Anthem Next overhaul in 2020. Oh yeah, they did have a quote-unquote roadmap. And obviously this is something for the investors, right? Is this something that would have benefited the consumer? Probably not. But obviously they don't want investors pulling out, so they have, you'll see this with a lot of companies, of failed projects. They'll put out a roadmap, quote unquote, of plans and never really actually follow through with them because they just shut it down. They stab it in the dead of night. And you're wondering, why are you doing this? And this is why, because they don't want investors to flip out. Next, remain one of the game's most vocal advocates, especially during Anthem's player had been asking for an online mode long before the game was shut down. And I do believe the game can just be played offline. Like, you can play that game alone, in a world completely alone, without people, in private. So why can't you play it offline? His latest comments came merely days after it was rendered completely unplayable following EA's decision to shut down its servers on January 12, 2026. What happened? Recently released a video titled The Truth About What Happened to Anthem. Dar laid out a Are we gonna watch this? I kind of want to watch this. Do I want to watch this? How long is it? God, I'm going to fucking Reddit. This is a fucking... fuck it. I ain't even going to put my earphones in. We're watching this. How long is it? 3
Okay, let's do this finally. Let's
hours.
talk about Anthem. To kick things off, I'm Mark Dara. I was the executive producer on Anthem for the last 16 months or so. So when I'm talking about the project, I was definitely working on it from the inside. Let's be clear about something up front. I was the executive producer for Anthem. I am certainly the person who was at the helm when it shipped. Some of this video is going to probably look like I'm trying to shift blame around. Maybe I am.
I'm thinking 3 fucking hours with all these fucking ads, bro. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. If I do this, it'd have to be like a 7-part thing. You know, I don't want to make. I'm trying to stay away from a lot of reaction content. It's kind of low effort, and people don't like that. But again, at the end of the day, what I want are games to not fucking die because a company just doesn't want to keep supporting it, and there's no end of life plans. And that's the thing that stopped killing games. Like, let's see, they even have a quote. He also used videos as a support a broader stop killing games movement, arguing that publishers should require to preserve a game at least some playable form. Yes. Like, this is, I think, something, even if it's a shitty playable form, like, you can't really, like, you have to be a little reasonable with this, right? Because at the end of the day, I want people to still play the games and the products that they bought, even if there's really nothing else to play. And the 10 million plan stands in direct opposition to Anthem's original vision as an always online live service title. Again, when you see these words right here, the only thing that should be going to your mind is they are going to kill this game, right? That's all. Like, there are cases where that may not even be the case, but always assume, one, if it's like EA, it's going to happen. Like, you can even look up lists of studios and games that they've completely put the fucking kibosh on. The single player structure removing constraint, the shift towards single player structure and removing the constraint of official servers. Drywall argued the game could find a new life, offering redemptive arcs similar to titles like No Man's Skies and Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, then make no mistake, these games had a very rocky start, right? No Man's Skies in particular, he talked a lot of big shit, but when it released, they had none of that. Now, to be fair, they added that later. Cyberpunk 2077 was just buggy as fuck and broken and unplayable. Even fucking PlayStation allowed people to refund. PlayStation barely ever fucking does that. Still whether EA bites or not, there's definitely reignite conversation about Anthem's unrealized potential all over the web, and that publishers owe to players even after the lights goes out. Like, this is something that just should be a duh, but people defend the killing of games for whatever. Obviously, EA's going to be against anything will they feel they have to put more money into. It's why gaming as a service started becoming a thing. One, for them to protect against piracy, which, okay, congratulations. You succeeded in piracy by deciding, no, we're just going to kill the game and you can't play it. Even though you paid money for it. It's like, congratulations. You violated people's consumer rights, but at least you're not going to have piracy. Oh, I'm sorry, you have a TOS saying you can do it? I don't give a fuck. Why do I care about a TOS that treats me like the bad guy? The person that gives you fucking money. But oh no, I'm the bad guy. I don't give a shit. Fuck off. But anyway, I think I'll watch that video, but I'm probably not. My whole thing is games should just stop being fucking slaughtered. Right? I think the consumer should decide whether a game should live or die. Or even if it, whatever state it lives in. So that's all I really got to say about this. Peace.